Hello, welcome to AI India Tour. Hi Diksha. I hope you're here in the call.
Yeah, hi Nirupama. Good morning. Hello
How are you?
everyone.
Hmm. All right, so let's begin with the session. Today we are here at AI India Tour, where we are actually noticing and more emphasizing on the fact that there's a India AI Odyssey tour going on, where Microsoft is giving out free certification, two levels of it, and based on that, there are other perks as well mentioned to everyone who'll be who's been asked to join this call, and maybe I'll mention about it in the later session. But let's Diksha, if you're ready, let's begin with the session. Diksha is going to talk about Azure Cognitive Services, and Diksha Sharma is an MCT. She's a Microsoft Certified Solution Architect expert, a data engineer, and a DevOps engineer. All right, over to you, Diksha. I hope everything's good. Let me know if you need anything. I'm here on the call.
Yeah, thank you Nirupama for a quick introduction and the topic that I'm going to take about on GitHub. And let me share my screen and I will start. Yes. Let me know if it's visible. Yeah, so it's visible. Nirupama, can you confirm?
Diksha, it's good to go.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for confirming. And hello, everyone. As you know that okay, we are on the Azure AI tour, and this is the session that I'm going to be talk about on the GitHub, basically. And here we will be talking about okay how GitHub or maybe why as a developer or as a like a practice lead, you need to use a GitHub. That will be a prerequisite to get started. If you are planning to build your career in DevOps or maybe into the development side, so in that case, GitHub will play a key role. So most of you might be already using GitHub, but here we are going to see okay how actually in the backend GitHub is going to be work. What is the architecture? Okay, and see some sample demo if we can see it there. So before getting started, let me introduce myself. So myself, Diksha Sharma, and I am Microsoft certified trainer, and I am 14 times certified into Azure. My key domain area into DevOps, data engineering, and solution architect side. And also, I'm talking about generally into data engineering DevOps, as Nirupama mentioned. So here is some high level idea, and let's start about the agenda that we have for this session. So first of all, here in this session, we will talk about what is version control, what is Git, why Git come in the picture, and what is the architecture of Git, how you can set up the repository, how you can create and manage the branches with the help of Git, what is branching concept, and how you can perform some basic command operations maintaining the different type of repositories that we are going to be covered, and as well as how you can maintain or resolve some kind of conflicts or some things are coming up. So in this module, basically, I'm covering from very beginning. Might be some of it you already using, but here I'm covering the architecture, conceptual things on the Git side. So let's get started. So first of all, what is version control and what is Git over here? So what is the meaning of version control, or maybe what are the different type of version controls that we have if you want to see? So the very first thing is here version control stand for, like if you see nowadays people are buying iPhone 18. Okay, now after some days you can see iPhone 19 might be coming up. Earlier they are iPhone 14, okay, or then they have iPhone 15. So they have a different versions of these iPhone. Okay, I'm just taking one example. On maybe the earlier you have iPhone 5 and then you have 6. So whenever a new features or something has been added in a particular module in application, in that case here we can see there is a new version or maybe new some additional features has been added, right? So here basically with the help of this versioning we are maintaining the different type of segments. Like first of all, for example, we have iPhone 14. Okay, and then we have moved to purchase for iPhone 15 because iPhone like Apple has launched some new additional feature in their existing one. Okay, it's not like they are going to build the code from scratch again for making iPhone. No, they are going to take the existing code what they have in iPhone 14, and on top of that they are going to do some additional changes, some flexibility, some features they are going to be add, and they are going to launch the new version. But it is not like they are going to be start from the zero series where they don't have a code or something has not been written. So it means whatever the pre-built has been done, okay, whatever the like a code you have developed, on top of that here we are adding some new feature. It means now we are doing some changes that is going to be handled, or maybe you can see the previous history you have. So now here from 0 to 1, now 1 2 3, and now here you can see iPhone 14 has come. Then in that case, now if 15 is going to become, it is basically advanced version of 14. There is some additional features has been added. So basically that is your versioning. Okay, adding some new features, adding some new resources, adding some new modules that will enhance the performance, or you are optimizing the code. I'm just giving the example of phone, but it could be anything. So increasing the flexibility of your code, that is going to become under the versioning concept. Okay, like it is your version 1. Now here from iPhone 15 to iPhone 16 is going to become, that is going to be again your version 2. Okay, so in this case here, every time whenever we are doing changes, it is going to maintain version of your existing code. So basically, VCS that stand for version control system. So that is going to be designed to record the changes within one file or more than one file. Like it could be a code, it could be application. I talked about application. Next day from application, we are going to move to created one website which are now you have created second version of your existing code. So basically with the help of VCS we can do the changes within single file or within more than one file, because it's not like always we are going to maintain our code same. Okay, every time whenever the new requirements come, new technology come, new feature we want to add, we need to change the like a code. Okay, and we need to come up with the new versions or the new solution. So here basically if you see, VCS is going to help you. Like first of all we understand what is versions. Versioning means doing some changes. Now how we can maintain this version, because for example today I write it down some code, okay, and over there I have added like 100 line of code. Okay, so 1 to 100 I have added a different line piece of code, and in that case here I am going to start next day from
Hi
101.
Diksha.
So in that
Uh,
we can return. So with the help of
Hi
version control
Diksha, sorry
system.
to disturb you. I think your internet is breaking in between, so two to three times your video and audio has paused.
Okay, just a minute then. Let me switch my network just.
Sure. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, so I guess now it should be better. Yeah, I hope my screen is visible now.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So yeah, so first of all, we were talking about the versions. Then the second thing we have discussed, okay, how you can maintain the version control. So basically, with the help of version control, if today like I have written on first piece of code to till 100 line of code I have write it down. So the next day when I'm going to be start, I will be starting from 101, not with again first line of code, right? Because now here I'm not going to be start from the initial line of code, because this one I have already stored as a form of version 1, right? Now this will be your version 2 on that will be generating from here, right? So that will be your version 2. I'm going to be save it in the next, like for example, now here I have written down 200 line of code, so that I'm going to be store as a version 2, right? So here version basically version control system why we need is like whatever code I have written down today, I want to make sure that okay, like tomorrow if there is any change or maybe tomorrow my code is not working, so I have the previous history of my code available, that I can simply take it, and with the help of that I can do the changes. Maybe I want to revoke the changes, okay, or my previous code was pretty much good, so I want to go to the like a previous changes. So all this thing we can maintain with the help of this version control system, and we can track the history of your previous changes as well. Like I can go from version 1 to 2, similarly I can go from version 2 to 1 also, previous version also. So as like if you are going to be work in any project, maybe in your college project also, you can see there are different developer who you guys are in a team, maybe 5 to 6 member, maybe similar way when you are going into the corporate. For one project itself there are 100 to 200 different developers. So for each developer, how you are going to manage that, which developer is doing what changes. So to maintain all these changes, we are going to put it into the version control system. Now what is this version control system and how many type? So here basically we have a three type of version control system: local version control system, centralized version control system, and distributed version control system. So let's start with version local version control system. So in the local version control system, this will be your input, like that will be the first one here as a user. They are going to be take care all the code, everything in our machine. Like for example, I'm using this laptop currently. So whatever code I'm going to be write down, I'm going to be write down in the same code, and here all the like versions I'm going to maintain different copies within the one single computer. And in the same computer itself, I am going to maintain the version database also. Like yesterday I was working into version 1, okay, now it has been upgraded because I am working to a different piece of code, like 100 to 200 line I have write it down. So now version 3, so all the versioning I am going to maintain in the same piece of database. So with the help of that, you can see now I want to go to the older version. Like okay, currently I am on the version 3, but I want to see on day 1 what code I write it down, so I can go and check for the version 1 also. So within the existing system, like that I'm using this my laptop itself, I want to use for maintaining the versions of your database. But what if my laptop got crashed, okay, or my internal database got corrupted? So I lose all the version as well as all the history, right? Because I'm maintaining all the code, everything versions locally in my personal laptop or personal machine. So that's why here local version control generally we will not use, because it is like as a developer you are maintaining your code individually in your own machine, and that is not a best practice, because something happened with your machine, or maybe your disk got corrupted, or maybe your laptop got corrupted. So in that case you lose all the version. So it's basically a local version is a local database where you are maintaining all the code. But here if everything because everything is going to be stored at one single place, so if something happen with your local database or your local machine itself, then in that case here everything is going to be lost. So that is your local version control system. Then you have a centralized version control system. Now centralized version control system is here basically each developer is not maintaining the code locally in their machine. Instead of that, they are going to maintain the code in their centralized location. Okay, like for example, there is a one developer with the name of Mark and the another developer with the name of Anna. Both developer are doing with respective to their own work, and they are maintaining the different copies and everything. Okay, so in that case here they are not going to maintain anything locally. Instead of that, there is a centralized version control server. Over there you are going to maintain all piece of code. Okay, so here earlier in the local version control, we are maintaining all the code locally, okay, in your machine. But now here you can see we are not maintaining each developer. Like okay, I could have 100 developer in my team, so each developer is going to put their code into centralized location. So you could have like 100 versions of your code and everything, but that will be available in the in the centralized location. Okay, a kind of a centralized repository that is maintaining the whole code, that will come under your centralized version control system. Here you have a single server, okay, a centralized server. That will be a single server where all the developer are going to maintain the different versions of the file instead of maintaining locally as we were maintaining locally earlier. But here, for example, if your centralized data center went down, okay, or centralized server went down, or centralized repository went down, still you lose the connectivity, okay, and you don't have the local copy available. So in the earlier days, if you see, people used to go with the centralized version control instead of localized. But now here also they face, or they face the issue where if everything is going to be stored on the one single place and this also got down, then both the developer, maybe all the developer can uh, remove, like are not able to access their centralized servers. So that's why here we have come up with the third approach. So if we want to see what are the example of centralized version control systems, so that is your MTFS, that is Microsoft Team Foundation Server. That is also from Microsoft. Okay, so that is your TFS, Team Foundation Server. It supports a CVCS, that is centralized version control system. Then after that, your distributed version control systems comes in the picture, that is DVCS. Okay, where here it is a combination of localized as well as a centralized, where you can see again you have a developer one, okay, who is maintaining the code, and then you have another is developer two, who is maintaining the code over here. So here we are maintaining the code central location as well as the local location also. Okay, so for example, if I have a 10 developers, so in that case, each developer is going to maintain the local copy in their machine. Okay, for example, I'm developing something, I'm going to maintain the code locally in my machine, as well as I'm going to send the code into the central location as well. So here also my code copy is available. Similar way, if another developer is also working, so in that case, the developer has the same copy available locally, but if the person is maintaining the final code into the central repository. So here, if you see, if you are not in a network area, okay, or maybe your centralized data center went down, still you have copy available locally with each developer. Like for example, me and Nirupama both are working in the same project, and centralized data center went down, so I can take the code from Nirupama as well, and Nirupama can take from me as well. So here each developer is maintaining their code, and with the help of that, here you can see we have the versions are available locally as well as centralized location also. So that's why we refer that as a distributed version control system, where every project are going to maintain the local copy as well as the central copy. So every developer and every project owner is going to maintain the local copy as well as the central copy. If the server is also going to be down, then in that case it is not going to directly impact your project, because you still have the local copy available. So here basically the example of these DVCS is going to be followed by Git. Okay, Git is an example of a DVCS. So that's why before starting Git or GitHub, I gave you some idea about what is version control system, and what are the different type of version control systems you have. So here basically we can say that, okay, first of all, we have a versions, different type of version control system. So in that case here, earlier we used to go for centralized version control system, but when Git has comes in the picture, then in that case we move into the distributed version control system. So Git has been developed by Linus, who has developed the Linux. So earlier Linux used to go with the Bitkeeper is a version control tool, but they have after that they have developed their own version control system, and they remove that Bitkeeper. So that same guy Linus has developed this, and earlier this Linux was using Bitkeeper as a version control system, but now they have completely moved into Git, and later on that has been acquired by Microsoft. Okay, so now Git is also a Microsoft tool. And now if we start with the GitHub, before that, if we have any question, then I can answer before moving to the main. Okay. Okay, so let's understand what is the Git, okay, and how your Git is going to be work. So Git is an example, as I mentioned. Here, Git is an example of your DevOps tool. Okay, so DevOps basically stand for development and operations, where on the same time you are building some services and you are doing the operations also. There are different stages also, like if you guys are like aware about the SDLC, or maybe you have seen that okay, different SDLC model, agile model. So same concepts are going to be followed in the DevOps also, where within the DevOps you have a development where you are going to do test build, sorry, you are going to do plan code, and you are going to do build. Okay, and then after that you are going to move to deploy, operate, monitoring. Okay, so different stages we have. So DevOps is basically combination or collection of development plus operations, where we have a different tools. So this DevOps side, Git comes to maintain the source code. Source code as in like you are building a website where the code is going to be put. Okay, you are building an application, so where the code of that application is going to be put. Okay, you are building any particular ETL jobs, you are writing a script. Okay, you are building the infrastructure, everything. So whatever code is going to be put, so where we are going to keep this code. So here Git is the place where we are going to put these particular source code. Okay, and then that can simply they can perform the operation we are maintaining, as it's followed DVCS. So that's why here you can see distributed manner we are going to maintain. It means a local copy, as I mentioned in the last slide, as well as the central copy. So basically, Git is a DevOps tool where we are going to put the source code. It means the entire code of your application or the development that you have done. And it's a version control system that used for tracking the changes. So the same version control we understand and how we can track the changes. Like I'm in the version 3, I want to see what was in the version 1. I can go to the older version also. I can revoke the changes also. Okay, I can uncommit the changes also. So there are different ways. And then it is generally used for source code management. Okay, where all the development tasks or all the developer can are going to put their code into a centralized location, and on top of that here they are going to perform different operations on that. Now here basically Git is going to be help, like for example it's not necessary that same type of code you are going to put. Like you can see this Git is a distributed centralized location where we have, and on top of that here you can see you have a one developer who is writing the code in Java, you have another developer who is writing code in Python, and here another developer who is writing down code into the MySQL. So no matter, okay, you guys are working into same project or you're in the different project or you are part of the like a same kind of language you are using, but still you can simply put your code by writing down simply the code here, and they have the specific command to that. We will see some of the command as well, and with the help of that we can simply put our code into the centralized location. So you can take the code from the Git and you can put your code also on the Git. And here we have a different like you could have like a 10 different developer or you have 100 different developer. So every developer can connect, they can put their code into the Git, or they can take the code from the Git and they can work into collaborative manner as a team. So basically here the same thing Git is going to use for tracking the changes, and it will maintain the distributed version control system. And here multiple developer can work together, okay, remotely as well. Okay, like as you are sitting in different location, but still remotely you guys can put your code, okay, while accessing the internet over the central location. If the code is available in the central location, I can also access your code, and you can also access my code. And after that here you can see we have a like a it could be written, your code could be in the same language or it could be in the different language also, it's support. So that will be in the Git side. Now here what are the features that is provided. So again here, if your like a repository went down or anything, so still each developer is maintaining the local code. So that's why here they have the complete privilege where they can perform the like operation or the history they can take. So here you have like a central repository, and here each developer is going to maintain their own code repository. So how you can go with the Git. So what are the features? First of all, yes, it track the history. Okay, you can see the previous version. It is a free and open source where you can simply go and create your account and simply use it. and it supports non-linear development. It's not like you need to go in a sequential manner, like first developer is completed a task, then only I'm going to do, or maybe I don't know where the another developer has completed a task, so in that case I need to wait. So here you can work into non-linear development. You can see all the changes, okay, that will be available over here, and you can see the latest change code, and you can take it into your local repository to perform the operation. Here you can maintain or create the backups, okay, that will be required. It's a highly scalable operations where you can see right now also there are many public repository available where you will get easily any code projects that is pre-built, okay, and it will give you a scalability feature. It supports collaboration, whereas a team member, your team member can simply share the code with you and you can take the code from there, you can share your code. So it could be going to be work like as a centralized location to collaboratively working into a code wise. And here you can see branching concept is easier. So branching is basically where multiple developer are working, they can simply create their own branch and basically their own segment over there they have to do the changes. But we will talk about branching in detail, okay, once we'll move into the further slides. Then it will work into the distributed development. The same distributed development, your source code will be available into the central location. Apart from that, it is available in your location, local repository also. So it will be available in the distributed manner. So these are the some feature of Git that we have. Okay. So on top of that, here we will be talking about the architecture as well, like what is your Git architecture and how it is going to be work. So far so good. We have talked about versions, version control systems, Git, features of Git. Now let's talk about how Git is going to be work. Okay, and over there, what is the architecture of Git and everything. So first of all, how your Git is going to be work. So obviously you need to install. There are two things. Okay, so you need to install Git in your system, okay, and with the help of that, once it's there, you can simply write down the command to perform the operation. So once you install the Git in your machine, and the second thing is you are going to create the GitHub. Okay, so as I mentioned, there are two things. So first thing is your Git you need to install, that is a software, okay. So I'll share the link also at the end. So Git is a software that you need to install in your machine to write down the git command, and the second is your central repository that we refer as a GitHub. That is a repository, it's not a software. Here you need to create an account, okay, and after creating the account you are going to put the code, or you are going to like perform all the commands, or as a central location you are going to maintain the like all the codes and everything. So Git is a software that you are going to install in your system, but GitHub is a central repository where you are going to put your code, okay, while performing the different operations. So if you understand the architecture, so first of all here we are going to install Git in your machine. Okay, that is very first thing. And once you install the Git, so as of now I'm just explaining the flow. Okay, and that will be in the very normal one. Okay, if you see there is no direct straightforward, but yeah, here as per this architecture, you will get a complete idea. Okay, what we are doing in which stage. So first you are going to install the Git, and after that you are going to like you go, choose that path, or maybe at location where you want to create a local repository, like any folder in my laptop that I want to convert as a local repository, or maybe that I'm going to maintain as a local repository. So once you install Git, go to that folder where you want to create or maybe maintain that as a local repository. So for that, I'm going to do is like, let's consider this is basically a developer one, okay, who is going to be anyone, okay, and we are going to set up a Git local repository, or maybe the final repository over here. So in that case here, the very first thing is we are going to install Git. Then the second is we are going to perform the Git init. That is the first command over here. Okay, so git init is the first command that we are going to do, and once you do git init, it will initialize your local repository. Okay, so we have two type of repository, like a local repository and central repository. So local repository that you are going to maintain into, because we are going with the DVCS, distributed version control system. So as we discussed DVCS, where each developer is maintaining locally code as well, and in the central repository also. So Git init basically help you to create a local repository in your machine. Local repository will be available in your system itself. So over there you are going to write down the command. Okay, so first we are going to do the git init, and after that the running this git init, that will initialize your local repository. It means currently we are till your machine only. Okay, we have not moved to GitHub. So once we do git init, it will initialize as a local repository, and it will do the segment of your local repository or maybe that folder into three section. Okay, so there will be three section created. First is the working directory, second is the staging area, and third is the local repository. There will be three section will be created. Working directory where you are going to do work, okay, or you are going to perform all the operations. Staging area basically where you are going to do the final code, like here you are going to keep, and local is your final local repository. So let's understand, okay, how you can move. So it is not like a physical changes you can see, or maybe a physical directory will be created, you are able to see, like, but once you write down this git init command, logically it will segment in three areas. Okay, so three areas will be logically created, and over there you are going to write down the code from moving one area to another area. So first one is your git init. Over there, you, for example, you have some code you have written down, okay, and you plan to move into that into your local repository or central repository. So you have a, for example, four files are available, like this is your html file, this is your javascript file, this is a python file, okay, or this is some sql file or some other file. So here we have like a different files here. I'm writing down homepage code, here I'm writing down some different files. So here I'm writing down or design part, okay, or here it's a javascript file. So I'm maintaining the code of my website, and with that I'm putting the entire files over here. But still I'm working on some of the file, okay, I don't think that, okay, all the files need to be moved. So here this file is ready, so I can move this file. Okay, and this file is not ready, so it's not necessary I am going to move it. But yes, here you can see this is another file, so it is also ready, we can move. So you might be working on the multiple file at the same time, okay, like same like a website you are building. So html file you are creating, css file you are creating, php file you are creating, or javascript file you have, so you have multiple file, but all the files are not ready to move it into the final code area. So in that case, here I'm going to only move those files that is ready. Okay, or for that we can simply move with the next step. Okay, to move your code into the final one. So only the final code we are going to move into the final repository. If the code is already you are still working on that, the always that code will be in the working directory area. Okay, once you're done with that your development part, then it will move to staging area and local repository. So you can choose, you want to move your one file or more than one file, and you can write down the another command, that is your git add. Okay, so git add command basically move your file from working directory to staging area. Okay, so in staging area your code will be moved with the help of this git add. So first command we did, that is your git init, where we are going to initializing a local repository, and then we are going to do git add, where we are moving your code from working directory to staging area. So now you can see here in the working directory, I might be working to 4 file, or might be I'm working into the 2 file, okay, or maybe 10 file. But in the staging area, we are going to maintain only that file that is ready. Okay, the code is like good, and we just want to move it into the staging area. So here out of 4, I am only moving 2 file into the staging area. Okay, then after that, here we we want to move the remaining code into the local repository. Now let's understand what is the difference between the staging area and the local repository, although both are going to be same. But like, see, if you are searching something, or maybe you are placing any order in Amazon, okay, for example, you are purchasing a watch. So in that case, you might be seeing 100 of watch, okay, on your feed. So this will be your feed area. Okay, so this will be your feed area where you are seeing 100 of watch. Okay, but it's not like you are going to purchase all the watches. Okay, you are only going to select some of them, or you are going to purchase only one. So here working directory you can consider like Amazon feed, where you are seeing that, okay, if you search for watch, then you are seeing that, okay, number of list or different type of watches are coming up, okay, as per the suggestion. Now here you are going, you have selected, or maybe you like some of the watch, so you have moved to watch into the cart. In Amazon you have like 100 of watches available in the feed, but on that you like two or three different watches. You have not yet finalized, but yes, you like two or three different watches. So that's why what you want to do is you can move that into the cart. So next time you do not need to come back. So now staging area is your cart area. Okay, so here you are putting the file that is basically final. Okay, on that you want to do changes or not, or you want to move it finally into the central. So now here you can see two watches you have selected and put it into the cart. Might be you are going to purchase all the two watches, or might be you are going to purchase only one. So it's completely depend on the requirement. Okay, so in that case, here staging area is your cart area where you are maintaining all the final code, and then after that you are going to move from staging area to local repository with the help of this git commit command. Git commit command you can basically understand as you are saving some changes. Okay, so here basically with the help of commit always we are putting our final code that will be required. So might be you have seen two watches, but you are going to purchase only one. So that will be your final payment you have made for one watch only. Git commit is basically now your code is into the local area, okay, local repository, and over there here we are going to perform like all the final code, okay, that will be put. So this is your final centralized this is your local repository where it will be available in your system on itself. Okay, how it's come to your system, because here you can see we have basically used this git init command, and with the help of that we have initialized local repositories. So once you do git commit, your final code move into the local repository. So we have a three segment, and each segment you need to write down the code to move it into the different location. So here, first of all, this is still only one developer. If you have, if I am the only developer who is working in that project, so I can maintain the code locally also. Okay, but that is not the best practice. We are not going in the local version control system. So now, if you are talking about the DVCS, so we reach still local repository that is available in your system itself. But on top of that, here I want to perform some certain operations as well. Okay, so I want to move that data or maybe this file from local repository to central repository. So central repository is your GitHub, right? So here we are going to move now this code to your GitHub this time. Okay, that will be your central repository. So we are going to move this time this code to your central repository. So for that also we have a command that you need to write down. Okay, so this time we are going to move into the GitHub. That is your central repository. Now that will be not available in your local machine. So now how we are going to move with your second step. Now we want to move the data in, or maybe code into the central location. So let's consider this time we have a two developer. Okay, so one is the developer one and another is the developer two. So already developer one has a machine has set up, like we have seen already. You have a working directory, staging area, git add will help you to move from working to staging area, and then git commit from moving from staging to local repository. Now your code moved till this point, okay, it git commit. Now there is another developer who want to have this code, okay, this final code that you have. So the another developer also want to access it. So you cannot allow them directly to share it over the email, right? Every time, how many versions you are going to maintain and share it over the email. So that's why here, now this guy is going to put this code into the central location. How for that we have this command available, git push. Git push is going to push the code from local repository and put it into your central GitHub central repository. So your central repository is GitHub where you need to create a account. Git is a software that you need to install in your system to write down the command or to maintain the local repository. And GitHub is basically a central repository where you need to simply create an account, where you have a branches available, and in the local also you have branches available, and you could have like all the developer are putting the code into centralized location. Okay. Now when we are going to do git push over here, okay, in that case here, okay, in that case, so when we are going to do git push, your code will be moved into your GitHub central repository. Okay, so here once the code move into the GitHub central repository, this time it is going to be come up with the next step. Okay, now here you can see we are putting the data into the central repository. Now the another developer 2 is there, so this guy need to take the code. So again he is going to perform the same operation, initializing installing the git in their system, initializing the repository, Okay, and then after that maintaining the different segments. So here also he is going to do same thing, git init, okay, maintaining the different code. Okay, and with the help of that, here you can see once the repository has initialized, he is going to do git pull to pull the code from central repository. So git push we will use to pushing the code into the central repo, and git pull we will use to pull the code from central repo to local repo. So wherever your code is going to be come, it will be coming up first into the working area, then it will come to the staging area, and after that into the local repository. So if the another developer too is going to be work on something, then in that case this guy is going to be work into the working directory area, and here he is going to perform all the operations, and then later on we are going to move into the git add or git commit. So in this case, here you can see all the developer are maintaining their code into central location, as well as they are maintaining the code into the local location also. Each developer has set up their own repository in their own machine, and here they are going to perform their own specific tasks. So in this case, here you can see basically if you need to push the code, you are going to perform the same operation like all the developer, any like their third developer come, he is also going to install the git, initialize the repository, and then after that he is going to write down all the code. So here we are going to use git push or pull to take the code from central repository, and here in the central repository it's not like about two developer, all the developer are going to put their code into one single location. Okay, so this is the high level architecture how your git is going to be work with the help of the like your git commands, and we are going to see how you can perform the operations also, a small demo, okay, with the code that we have discussed how we can perform. So these are some basic command line. I have already given the idea, okay, in the architecture. So you have a working directory where you have to do git add to move it into the staging area, git commit to move it to the local repository. Now then from the remote, that will be your central repository. Here you are going to do git push or pull to take the code back. Okay, and here you can see apart from that there are some popular command also that we will be covering after this, but let's move to a demo. Okay, how we can set up your initial git local repository as well as the central repository. Over there you can perform the operations. So let's get started. So first of all, as I mentioned, you should have a git available, okay, and then you have a GitHub available. So let me open. This is the github.com, okay, and here you need to log in directly, basically with your Gmail ID, or if you have any temporary ID you can simply use that, and with the help of that you need to log in. If you don't have any account, you can simply sign up and create the account, as it is an open source option, or it's available for all the developers, then in that case simply you can go ahead and use this. So this is my GitHub. I already have the account over here. So in that case, here once you log in, then in that case you can simply so here you can simply go and create the repository. So inside this one here, I'm maintaining like a different repositories, but for this use case, we are going to maintain one repository. But before that, here you can see github.com. As I mentioned, it's a central repository. So let's first set up local repository, then we are going to move our code into the central repository. So let's move back to your local repository. So for example, here, okay, let's create a folder that I want to convert as a local repository. So I'm creating a folder. So I'm keeping the folder name is AI tool git, okay, and inside that if you go inside this, right now you can see this folder is currently empty, there is no file available, but now we want to convert these folder into a local repository. So the very first command that we are going to do is git init. So what you need to do is you just need to go to that path or the folder that you want to convert, do right click, and if you click on the show more option, there is an option git GUI here or git bash here. So bash we will use for writing down command, and GUI is basically for graphical user interface. So we'll be using a bash because we need to write down the command, and with command we are going to test this one. So we will be using git bash here, and once it's open you can verify simply the location is going to be same as you are currently I'm on the desktop and this is the folder name AI tool git. Okay, or the better suggestion is do not keep the space, instead of that you can keep the underscore. So let's convert first of all into the git init, and once I run the git init command, you can see one .git folder will be created in the backend, and with the help of that, you can see that is going to be used. That will display you that okay, the particular folder you have converted into the local repo. Okay, so let's try with the git init. That will be our first command. Okay, so now you can see initializing empty git repository in this, and you can see a folder has been created. So it is going to initialize this folder into empty Git repository. Sometime it might happen that you are not able to see this. So in that case, you need to go to view, and in the advanced option here you have an option to see, show the hided folder as well. So with the help of that, you can see. Sometime you might not be able to view, but yeah, this time you can click on the show hidden item. Then in that case, it will show you. I already checked this bug, that's why it's visible. Sometime it is not visible, so you can go to the view and then click on the show hidden item, so it will display that also. So once this .git is there, so you can see as per the diagram, here we are, right? We have added on git in it, and here we are to initialize the local repository, and we have seen .git folder has been created, so it means now 3 segments are ready. So let's move back to this. Okay, and we have already opened this. So let's create first of all one file or something. You can manually create like index.html or any file that you have, or you can create any readme file also. So here basically we want to open this. So from here you can simply open this. So from here you can simply install the git. I forgot to inform for installation part. So you need to install the git and then you need to write down the git in it. So you can simply go git installer for Windows, and over there you can simply install this. I'll share all the commands also in the chat, so that will be helpful for you. And over there you can simply do the git bash if it's not already installed in your system. For me it's already installed, so that's why I'm not installing. Okay, and then the second thing is we are writing down git init command. So you are going to create any file over here. Right now you can see there is no file available. So let's simply take the code. So with the help of this one, okay, I'm going to create a file, or maybe you can simply write down. So I'm using echo, that is going to be used for uh, writing anything in your file. Okay, echo has demo I'm writing down. Instead of that I can write down here that okay, today's date is 20th June 2024. Okay, so today's date is 2024, and then we are going to simply create one readme file. You want to read the data in what you have stored inside this file, you can simply use cat function. Cat function is not supported in cmd. You need to write down this inside your git bash only. Okay, so cat function basically give you what is written inside. So you can say this is something that we have written down. Today's date is 20th January 2024. Okay. Now you want to add something else also, so you can add it, and you can say in the backend by default a README file has been created. If you have a multiple files, then you can simply just write it down. So if the file is not there, it will automatically create, or manually you can create index.html also. That will be also fine. So now here we have added, like we have created one file, README file, and we have added also. So in this case, we are going to simply do with the second step. So if you see what was the second step over here, we will be doing like currently if we are doing any development, like we are currently doing changes, we have created a new file. Currently we are in the working area where you can perform some certain tasks. So that will be your working area. Now from here we want to move into the staging area. So we are going to use git add command. Okay, so you could have, like as I mentioned, you could have a multiple files available. then you can simply choose which file you want to move it into the staging area. Okay, or you want to move all the files, then just put git add space dot, so it will move all the files that you have. But here I want to move one single file, so you can simply put this also, git add readme.md file, and you can simply click on this, and here it will be giving you that. Okay, let me increase the font also if it's not visible. Okay, so I hope now it's more visible. Yes. So yeah, so here you can see we have done the git add readme.md. So md stand for markdown file. So here we are creating a markdown file only. So now we have moved that file into the staging area. So once file move into the staging area, the next thing is you can do commit. So whenever we are doing commit, so commit is basically for saving the changes, right? So git add, we are currently here. Now we need to move into the local repository, so we can use the git commit. And within the git commit here, you need to pass a commit message, because how you are going to keep a track. Every time whenever you are going to do commit, there is a unique commit ID will be generated. Okay, with every commit there is one unique commit ID associated. With the help of commit ID, you can understand what was the previous version. And with the commit, you need to pass a commit message. So message should be meaningful, that will give some idea, okay, like what you have done while doing the commit, or what are the changes you made and everything. So here you can see we have done the commit. So here you can see we have done the commit. So here you can, let's go to this guy. And then here you can simply pass it that, okay, you want to go with like hyphen m for passing the message. And on top of that, here if you have like you want to go with any statement, like you update some file, or maybe you did some changes in the file, so you can simply do hyphen m, and you can put any, like, okay, this is my first commit, or this is like test commit, so you can put first commit. Okay, this is my first commit that I am putting as a commit message. So for message we are doing hyphen m. Okay, and we are doing git commit. So after that, your code is going to move into the local repository. Now you can see here, one file has changed, one file has inserted. What is the file name? You can see readme.md file. And here for the first time user, and you need to do some additional stuff as well. Like if you are a first time user and doing some operations on your Git, so in that case, first you need to set up the global user email ID and global username. Okay, so you are can use simply git config global user name and global user email address. So as I have already done, so that's why here it is not asking as of now that, okay, what is the like username or password you have. But for the first time you need to perform these operations, so it will automatically come up with a pop-up where you need to do the authentication. Okay, that is the additional steps that you need to perform. But once you are done on this case, now we are going to do the next thing, that is your moving the code, okay, to your central repository. So currently we are into the local repository. Now if I want to check, okay, git status, basically you can use to check the current status of your git. So if I'm going to do git status, you can see nothing to commit, because the current file, that's this readme file, has been moved already into the local repository. Like let's take one more example. Like I am, you can simply use upper cursor of your this keyboard. With the help of that, you can take the previous code, and here you can see I'm adding one more line of code over here. Okay, so I'm adding one more line of code. Okay, and doing some changes. So when I'm doing changes, then it will again move into the working area. So I'm moving this. This is AI India to demo. Okay, and then inside this, here we are going to again, once we are going to do second line of code in the readme file again. And if I do get to read, okay, what data it has, so you can see now we have two line available. Earlier we have only one line. Now this is a new line that I have added. So in that case here, we are going to, again, if I check git status, it will show me that okay, there is some modification has been done. Earlier it was showing that okay, on branch master nothing to commit. When I'm doing git status earlier, it was showing nothing to commit, but now as I have added a new line, so that's why it's showing that we git status. Here it is showing that okay, readme.md, there is some modification has been done. Okay, now let's move this file again into the staging area, because whenever you are doing any changes, it will come back to the working area. So now let's move to staging area. So we'll move this git add readme.md file. Okay, and then it is going to be added into your staging area this time. Now if I take it again in the git status, you can see now it's coming up as a green, that this file particular coming up into the this has been moved into this staging area. We are currently into the staging area. Now I want to move it into the local repository. I'm going to check git commit again. So I'm going to perform the git commit. This time I'm changing my message, adding a second line in my code. Okay, so this is every time you are adding the commit, you need to make sure you are putting some meaningful in information. Okay, or maybe as a message, so that will be helpful as another developer also to understand what are the changes you have done. So I'm doing git commit hyphen m, adding the second line in my code, and now you can see there is another file has been changed. Now if I check for the git status again it will show same that okay, on branch master nothing to commit, and everything is clean, because right now your code is under your local repository. Okay, so if I'm doing this again, it is going to show you nothing to commit because there is no change has been done. That's why nothing to commit over here, and we are good to go till local repository. So I hope till this point we are clear. And now I'm going to plan to move this code into the central repository. So now the central repository is your GitHub. So till now we have performed all the operation with Git. Now let's perform the same some of the operation with your central repository as well. So let's move to your Git. So you need to go to simply Git, and over there you need to simply do sign up. If it's not already, if you are going to the GitHub, it will give you that okay, sign up or login option. Once you create the ID, it will take you to the repository section. So I'm already in the github.com and logged in, so it will also take you to the same place. So in that case, here you can see we have the different repositories available. Like here you can see I'm creating another repository, a new, and here you are going to create the repository name is India AI tour demo. Okay, so this is my repository name that I'm keeping. Then inside this, we are going to push our code or move our code from local repository. Okay, because this is going to be your central repository of the code. Okay, so till this point we are good, and then after that here you can simply go and you can create, okay, if you have any pre-built template repository template that you can take, or you want to import any repository that you can import. Okay, and then you want to give some description that also you can give. Then after that you want to keep your repository public, private, you can define. So generally we will create public where other users or other developer can see. But if you are working into a project that is a project specific repository, you are going to make that repository as a private. But right now we are doing for demo purpose, then we can go for public. Private repository is basically for organization purpose, where you can limit that okay, who can see the changes. But public repository basically where everyone can go ahead and see the changes. Now here you want to add a readme file? No, because we have created our own readme file and that is currently available in the local repository. But yes, we want to move that, so that's why here we can simply use this after that. So right now I'm not doing any changes, I just provided a name, that's it. And after that we are creating a new repository. Okay, so we have created a new repository, and as of now there is no file available. You can see it's a public and there is no file available. Okay, and it's completely blank, but yes, you can use the same thing to be connected or maybe sending the code. Okay, So now let's move with the next step that we have is this link is going to be your GitHub link, okay, GitHub repository link that you are going to use for pushing the changes or maybe connecting or authenticating with the your central repository. So we are going to use this code, okay, to send. So let's copy this path or copy this URL that we have, and with the help of that, basically we are going to simply send the code, okay, to this repository. So let's move ahead with your path again. And, okay, so this is our file, and inside this here we are going to see, okay, here we have moved the data to local repository. Now I want to move my data to central repository. So for that, what I need to do is, first of all, we need to add your central repository path, okay, for the first thing. Once you add it, then in that case you can simply do push. But as of now, I have created a new repository, and for that it's already not associated with my local repository. There should be a link between your local repository and central repository, okay, and authentication and everything you need to do. That is the first thing. But once you are done, then you do not need to perform. So first we are going to provide your local repository path with this. So let's type this remote, that is your central. Remote means central. Add origin, okay, and then after that here we are going to put the path that we have copied, okay. So here you can see git remote add origin, and after that this is the path. So github.com, this is my username on GitHub, and then India AI Tour demo, this is my repository name .git. So now once it is done, okay, so for the first time you need to perform this task, but after that you do not need to perform this, okay, because your origin, like remote repository, will be connected now with the local repository, okay. Now hit enter. So if you have not already connected your GitHub, it is going to come up with a pop-up. A prompt will be coming up where you need to provide the username and password, and with the help of that, you are going to do the authentication. And once it's authorized, you are able to push after that. Okay. So here you are going to do push, but before that, you need to make the connectivity between a local repository and a central repository. So now once we are done, here we are going to do git push that we have seen, and hyphen u, and in the origin, the just now which we have set up, okay, from master branch to send. So here we are defining push the code, okay, from into the origin, that is your the one above which we have set up, git remote add origin, and this is the path. So here we are referring, okay, git push hyphen u origin master, and then we are going to see, okay, it will start pushing the data or maybe your code. So let's wait for a minute. Now you can see here it is checking, okay, so 100% all the objects are done, okay, and basically in your master branch you can see they are particular, this file has been moved. So now let's validate that, okay, are we able to see this records or not. So as of now nothing, right? So we are not able to see any file, so just reload the file after running the command. You can reload the file and you can see there is a readme.md file available. 7 minutes ago I have created, okay, and you can see basically this is going to be, okay, today's date is 20th Jan, and then this is AI Indian tour demo, okay, this is something that we have write it down. And I want to see the history, okay, if you see over here, this is something that we have write it down in the readme, right, that we are able to see. And over there you can see two commit also has done. So what are the two commit? If we see, so the first commit where we are doing is the, okay, this is my first commit, this is the message that I kept, and inside this here you can see today's date is 20th Jan 2024, okay, it means this is the first code. Then after that here we are doing is adding the second line in my code, that is your today's day, this is AI India tool demo. So you can simply keep the version, okay, for every code, okay, for every commit you can see there is a versions has been created. So two commit we have done, and for each commit you can see there is a unique commit id. Okay, and it will give you the complete commit detail, what are the lines has been modified. Second line, if it is in green it means second line has been added, if it's in a red it means this has been removed. So that's why here you can see we can simply perform the operations. Let me charge my laptop. So this is basically where we can simply see the changes that has been done, and apart from that here you can see all the files will be available, right? So we have validated, like let's add a new file as well, or maybe let's add one more file. Okay, so we can see that is also coming up over here. Now this time I am going to keep it into index.html. So it is going to create a new file this time. You can see here index file, index.html file has been created and the extension is html. So now here we are currently in the working area because a new file has been created, and inside that I am going to move this file into staging area. So I'm going to put the file name is index.html. This is my file name, so I'm going to put that into the staging area. Okay, and then after that here we have like a commit we need to perform. So I'm putting the new message is adding new index file. Okay, so adding new index file that we are going to be put as a commit message. Okay, now it has been committed and now your code is available in local repository. You can recall that flow that we have discussed, and then here we are going to do simply git push because currently we are in the local repository. So once you do this, oh, now you can see here we have one more file. So if you go here and reload it, you can see index.html adding new index file. This is the commit message. I have not added file here in the GitHub. I have not uploaded. I have added the file in this. Okay, but still we are able to see. Okay, over here, and you can see inside the file we have the records are available. Now that is the one thing that you have in the repository. But apart from that, another concept it is giving up as a branches also. Like branches, master branch basically will maintain where full and final code we are going to keep. Okay, this is my final code. So that will be your master branch. Okay, but on top of that, you can create another branch also. That will be your feature branch. So master branch will basically your main branch where you are going to maintain the full code, but here we as a developer generally we used to create a feature branch. Now feature branch means okay, associated branch I'm creating. Okay, like here if you take any example, then we have a like a master code is available at one single location, but still we want to maintain the copy, so we can create our own branch. So that is something that we can use. So here if you need to create a master branch, you can sorry, feature branch you can create in local repository as well as the central repo as well. Now after this here, if you see like I want to create a new branch, so and I want to push the code into a specific branch, not in all the branch. So you at the time of pushing the code also you can specify the branch. Like you can see here we have specified the code should be pushed into the master branch. Get push hyphen new origin master. If you are not defining master, okay, you can define here feature branch also, that I don't want to push the code into master branch, that will be my main branch. Instead of that I want to push the code into feature branch. So feature branch we refer as a personal branch. Okay, so here personal branch is basically dedicated to you for your development, but whatever code is there it is not final yet because final code will be only available into the master branch. So here also you can simply create the like a master branch over here. Oh, sorry, you can create the feature branch over here. You can simply write down the name, like, okay. So all the developer can create as per their development. Okay, and you can see there is a create a branch with this name because from master it means as of now there is no branch available. So from master it will be create feature diksha branch. Okay, and we are going to click on this. So whatever code is there in the master branch, that will be also copied or collected inside this. Okay, now here you can see when we are going to be write down the code. Okay, so it might happen like you can see in the drop down we have a two branches available, feature diksha and master. So master is your final one, okay, and this one the feature branch where I am going to maintain my developed code or anything. So if I'm adding a new file or if I'm doing some changes in this branch, it is not going to impact your another branch also. Okay, like for example, I'm creating a new file over here. This is demo file, okay, and I'm giving the name is demo. Okay, and you can right now this code should not be available in the local repository. Okay, this code will be only available into the central repository because I'm creating this file into directly into the central repository, and the code that is coming up from local, that is basically going to be here. So you can do commit changes. Okay, now you can see in my feature branch here I have three files, demo.py, readme.md, and index.html. But if I am going to do this master, okay, now here you can see basically I have two. I don't have one more code is available, one more file is available. Here you can see I have only two, but if I'm going to feature branch, here I have like a three files available. Now I want to move this code, okay, this demo.py from here to master branch. Okay, then as of now it's not available, so you can see we can simply create a pull request. So you can simply do compare and pull request, and with the help of that here you can simply comparing between master to feature branch. Okay, feature branch is my personal branch, master branch where I'm going to maintain the final code. So here you can simply put, okay, now I'm merging the changes whatever I have in my feature branch, that I'm merging into the master branch. So here we can simply do create demo.py, and here you can write down the description, creating a new temporary file. Okay, and then here once you are creating a pull request, in the below you can see, okay, what is the new details. So demo.py new file has been added, and in here a new line has been added. Okay, it's in green. And then similar way in the left side, if you want to add any reviewer, okay, like any senior you want that, okay, he must be review your code before merging the changes, you can add that person as a reviewer. You can search that guy name, okay, and then you can simply add. You can assign to someone else, okay, you can label. So these are the features you have in the right panel, and you can simply click on create pull request. Okay, and it is going to check all the issue, all the changes that has been made. That is fine, that is not an issue, and there is no conflict. So basically it will allow you to merge, okay, merge the changes that you have available in the feature branch, that we can simply merge it into the master branch. So you can simply do merge, and then you can simply do confirm merge. Okay, now after merging, you want to delete your feature branch, then you can simply delete it from here, or no, then in that case, you can simply go and use it. So if I click on my repository, and here you can see currently I'm in the master branch, and earlier this demo.py was not available, but now you can see it is also available. You can see merge pull request one from this feature branch. So now you can see here also I have a three file available, and from here also I have a three file available. Okay. So apart from that, this GitHub provides you couple of different flexibility. Here you can now they have introduced this GitHub action also, where you can maintain like the entire automation. You can perform, generally we used to build CI/CD with the help of Bamboo or Jenkins, okay, or other platform. But this GitHub also has come up with this action feature. This is going to be helpful for building the automation, okay, where you can perform some certain tasks. But yes, before in the backend you can write down the code. Then you can maintain the pull request also. If you have a multiple pull request, you can maintain the code, or you can set up the issues, or if you want to create new issues, you can maintain over here. You can maintain the projects, like if you have a like you have a large team scale and where you have a different multiple projects available, you can maintain over here. You can maintain the wiki pages. Wiki pages is basically that will give you the roadmap of the project, where you are the progress, a kind of a documentation kind of thing you can maintain inside this wiki. And then security side also, you can maintain the policies, okay, or the different advisory dependencies are there, so you can define the policies that should be set up. Like always reviewer need to be choose, okay. There are always there should be no conflict. There are some specific changes you can perform. And this is the overall GitHub itself provide you a very much flexibility where you can perform certain tasks. So I hope you got some idea in this one. If any question, then let me know. Okay, so let's jump back to this thing. Okay, so we have discussed this thing, how we can maintain the code in our own branch, and then we can move the code into the central repository, local repository to central repository, and perform certain operations. Okay, now these are the commands line that we have discussed. So apart from the commands that we have performed, there are few other commands that are available, like git initialize, git difference, that will help you to changes that you have made. And then you have a git branch to see, or maybe to create a new branch. Like we have created a branch through GitHub, but apart from that, from git bash also you can create a branch. Like for example, here you can see I am currently in the master, but yes, I can simply do git branch developer one, so it will create a new branch. Okay, and now I want to switch to another branch. Like currently you can see I'm in the master branch. I want to switch into day one. So you can use git checkout, and from here you can move into the another branch. Now you can see earlier I was in master branch, but currently I am in the dev one. Okay, and from here you can see whatever code you have and everything you can perform, that will not impact your master branch. So you can create the branching in local repository, as well as you can create into the remote repository as well. So okay, and this git branch basically we use for creating the branches in your repository. Then after that, here you have a git commit that we have tried, git configuration, as I mentioned, for the first time when you are logging in. Then you need to set up the username and email. Then git checkout. Okay, just now also we have tried for switching the branches. Then git status also we have tried, and git configure for email address. Git merge we have tried it through git central repository, where we merge the changes. Git log, git clone, and git rebase also. So git clone is basically whatever we have in the. Okay, so for example, here we have a multiple thing. So I want to clone everything. So you can simply go ahead and you can use this. Okay, and you can go to the path where you want to clone. Like for example, here is nothing, so I want to clone it from here. So you can simply see git bash here, and you can do git clone. So let me do this way. Okay, so it will do the cloning India AI tool demo, and whatever files we have. Now you can see here we have one folder has been created. Earlier it was not there. So once you clone it, it will be coming up from central to local repository we are cloning. So India AI tool has been created, and simply you can see inside this all the two file that you have that will be available. Okay. So these are some commonly used commands that you can see, and that will be helpful to get you started on Git. Okay, while doing the analysis. Okay, so we have seen the working demo also on the Git, how you can make a repository, how you can perform the operations and the different things. So I hope you got some clarity and the basic command. If you guys have any question, you guys can ask. And thank you, Reskill team, for inviting me to share the insight. And you guys can connect with me on the LinkedIn or on Instagram if you have any query. So
Thank you, Diksha. That was an insightful session, and I am definitely sure students are going to leverage a lot from it. So, thank you so much for adding to the day and learnings of the students. Um, All right. So for the students here watching us, I had a little thing to introduce. You might be already aware about, I had mentioned in the starting of the session as well about AI Odyssey. So this is a particular QR code we wanted to share with you. Once you scan this QR code, and I would recommend you do it right away. So it is a easy pre-certification, for you to do that adds to your resume for AI, NLP, and all. And once you are done with your certification, level 1 and level 2.
Nirupama, you are on mute if you're. Nirupama, you are on mute if you're talking.
Hi, sorry, I lost my internet. Yeah, Diksha. So, what I was saying is, once you complete level 1 and 2, given in the link tree, so each student receives their own, transcript link on their profile, and as well as get free certifications. Where the transcript comes in to help is, if you send that particular transcript to us with all your details, we would be able to send you a Microsoft swag, as well as you stand a chance to attend the Microsoft event happening in February, where Satya Nadella is going to be the chief guest. So if you're, somehow feel you can back that, do try. In any case, it's a great advantage added to your resume. And all the best to everyone. And if you need any guidance, any help, or have any doubts regarding the same, you can reach out to us through LinkedIn or WhatsApp. On LinkedIn you can find Reskill, RESKILL, or the Azure Developer Community India, and just text us whatever you feel that you need to talk to about us with us. That is all from my end. And once again, really thank you, Disha, for having us today and joining us. I think we can end the session here. If you have anything else to add, let me know.
Yeah, thank you, Nirupama. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Diksha. Have a great day. Thank you, everyone.